19th May 2017. 54-year-old Srihari, also known as Gangeshanand Tirthapada, a spiritual leader, was rushed to the hospital. His genitals nearly chopped off. The price he allegedly paid for attempting to rape a 23-year-old. The self-proclaimed Godman had been raping her for about 8 years, back since she was a minor.
He used to abuse her for different times, but fearing the outlash from the parents, thinking that they may not help, and since they are believing more the Godman, she has not told to anybody. This Hari Swami called this girl during the process of abusing, and then she cut the private part of this person and she ran out of the home.
Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has reacted to the incident, lauding the bravery of the girl. He said the assaulter has received a befitting reply.
അത് നല്ല ഉദാത്തമായ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. അത് നല്ല ധീരമായ നടപടിയാണ്. അതിനകത്തൊരു സംശയമില്ല. അത് എല്ലാ ശക്തമായ നടപടി ഉണ്ടായില്ല. അതിന് പിന്തുണ കൊടുക്കാതല്ലാതെ വേറെയൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാകേണ്ടതില്ല. ശരി, അപ്പൊ എല്ലാവർക്കും.
But after the bouquets came the big question: was she right in taking the law in her own hands, even if it was to fight off her assaulter? A question raised by Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor, who took to Facebook to air his opinion.
The police has now decided to drop all the charges against the 23-year-old girl and also decided to take on the case against the molester Hari Swami again.
The castration row has now sparked a debate. Do women have to arm themselves to be safe? And in self-defense, how far is too far? Mirror Now report.
Well, the Chief Minister of a state comes out to say that this is the right thing to do. We have to ask two very important questions, viewers, and we have to ask this question as a woman who is watching, or as a man who is watching who has a woman at home, a daughter, a wife, a mother who needs to be protected or who needs to protect herself. Question number one. Under the Indian Penal Code, what is self-defense? What are we allowed to do in self-defense? Can you stab? Can you maim? Can you blind? Can you shoot? Can you kill? When faced with the threat of rape, what are you allowed to do as a woman in this country? That's my first question tonight. My second question tonight is this. If the Chief Minister of the state of Kerala, and the state of Kerala, from what I understand, has a pretty terrible track record when it comes to rape. There will be 2,500 reported rape cases in Kerala in 2016. If the Chief Minister of the state says this is a good thing to do, are we to understand then that we women have to protect ourselves? Should we now walk around with knives in our handbags? Why not just get a gun? Should we shoot people who come at us? Obviously, the status of women in this country is abysmal, appalling and embarrassing. And we are now at a point where we are having to defend ourselves. So if you're going to defend ourselves, and if the law and order machinery, which is a state subject led by a chief minister, thinks that it's a good idea that we walk around with knives and take matters into our own hands, then shouldn't we just walk around with knives anyway? Is pepper spray legal? Are knives legal? Are guns legal? What is self-defense? What is defense at all? There are a lot of people who've come on this show in the past and said women should learn self-defense. What does that mean? Why stop at karate? Why do you want us to learn martial arts? Let us just buy guns. Give us licenses. We'll shoot people who come at us. That should be a good way to solve the problem. The question that we're asking today is, what is self-defense according to the law? What is self-defense? What is defense at all? And if we women have to look after ourselves, why not allow us to do so then in the best way possible? Joining me on the show this evening, Aishwarya Bhati, advocate at the Supreme Court. Kumar Jahgirdar is a men's rights activist. Dr. P.S. Pasricha is a retired Director General of Police of Maharashtra, and I'm very happy to have him here, bringing in the law and order situation. Yogita Bhayana is a social activist who works with women's rights. Sujay Kantawala is a senior advocate. Deepika Bharadwaj is a documentary filmmaker who's made a film on the rights of men. Swapnil Kothari is a senior lawyer who also joins me in Mumbai. I welcome all of our guests into this studio, and I'm going to do one round of opening arguments from each of you, but my phone lines are also open, so for our viewers who want to weigh in, please pick up the phone and call us. I want to know what you think. What should women be doing now? What should the law allow us to do? Dr. Pasricha, where do you stand? Where do you stand?
Well, I stand at the fence because it works both ways. We just can't take an emotional stand. Well, there is a right of defense in the Indian Penal Code. Now, it will all depend upon what circumstances she was in when she attacked the accused.
When she defended herself against an attack from the accused.
No, it was very important because suppose if he was about to again attempt a rape on her, then she's very much, within her right to exercise that right. Not to what extent and all that, those are all, discussable. Nobody can, sitting outside, can take that decision. But if it was premeditated, where she had, gone with that intent and he was not doing anything, he was not attempting that thing, and still she did it, then it will be a question of...
So basically you're saying that it finally boils down to the court of law, because if the case, but in this particular case, the police have not registered a case against the victim, the woman in question, but fundamentally she would have had to prove her case in the court of law?
No, it all depends, Yes, to some extent, yes. But in this case, the police has already... I mean, they have not taken any action because they knew that the 8 year, that cumulative, that anger, that agony which she had been undergoing. Now, when again he tried to do, well, that was, she gave in and she, did it. Well, that's a matter. You can discuss either way. Well, my friend, Mr. Kothari, let him say, but I feel she's within her right.
I also want, Mr. Pasricha, for you to weigh in on the fact that the Chief Minister of the state said this was a befitting reply. This is what should have been done. The Chief Minister of the state leads the law and order. Is he fundamentally telling us we need to look after ourselves now?
Well, I would not like to comment on the political statement. You asked me, what does the law say? I have told you both ways that if there's an imminent danger to your life, well, you have the right to exercise that right of private defense given in the Indian Penal Code. But in case it is not, well, then it's actionable.
Okay. Let me bring opening arguments in from everybody. Swapnil Kothari, where do you stand?
Well, it's very clear that the fact that the police have not registered any case against the lady in question clearly indicates that they know that she's not the one who's at fault. And they have slapped Section 376 on the Swami, on that Swami or the saint, or whatever, Guru. And also under POCSO, they have gone against him because he was continuously raping her for 8 years. And then it's so the question of a hypothetical situation as to whether she did it under the garb of self-defense, whether it was appropriate for her, is a mere conjecture at the moment. But I completely agree. Even if there was a case slapped against her, she would be well within her rights under Section 100 of the IPC, which is very clear. There are some 8 to 9 descriptions, under which you can even impose death and any other harm on the assailant. Now, those two things, out of those 8 descriptions, two are very important. One is when the assailant tries to commit rape, and when the assailant tries to gratify unnatural lust. Now, both these things, sit very, very snugly on this particular woman out here on this case. So she's well within her rights under Section 100. And as far as the Chief Minister's comment is concerned, I would just view it as a simple comment where he says that, well, it's an opinion. Now, if we were to read more into that, whether he wants to let us have the law and order in our own hands, I don't think I would stretch it that far. Yes. And neither would I let Shashi Tharoor's comment be the reverse in that sense, where he says that, no, she shouldn't have done this. Because I think that's just a comment, which means that she shouldn't have. But I think Shashi Tharoor should know, because first of all, he's not a woman. Secondly, if a woman is, confronted with that situation where a man has been continuously raping her, and then on one fine day when he again tries to assault and, get on top of her or whatever it may be, then she's well within her rights, and Shashi Tharoor is not a woman.
Let me just point out what Shashi Tharoor has said. He said there's something gratifying about such swift justice, but she would have been better off bringing the matter to the police rather than taking law into her own hands. I sympathize with her, as most people would, but we need a society where justice prevails, not one where every individual seeks it with a knife in her hand. Mr. Shashi Tharoor, do you know what the rates of crime is in your state, in your home state? There's been a sharp rise in rape cases in Kerala, 2,500 reported in 2016, a total of 16,960 cases of crime against women and children reported in the last 1 year in Kerala. So yes, Shashi Tharoor, we would love to have a society where justice prevails and where no one has to seek it with a knife in her hand. But in the meantime, what are we to do? Wait around? Wait around?
Very short comment. So what Shashi Tharoor's statement, if I were to read it very, very implicitly or explicitly for that matter, what he tries to say is that the woman in question should say, okay, by the way, you go ahead and rape me one last time and then I'm going to file a complaint with the police.
Very fair.
You know, I want to bring in Sujay Kantawala, and let me tell you here to our viewers, I'm actually taking offense against both statements. One, against what Shashi Tharoor has said, because women have been waiting around for a very long time. The law and order situation has not come in to rescue us. Secondly, against what the Chief Minister has said, because the law and order situation and the failure of it is your personal failure as a Chief Minister. You should do better than to giggle in a press conference and say that was a befitting reply to rape. She had to resort to that reply because you failed as a Chief Minister and you didn't do your job. So giggling at a press conference is not a good enough response. Aishwarya Bhati, where did you stand?
This was bound to happen. There is no other way this could have happened, Faye. You know, the problem with law and order is that when law and order fails the citizens, when the justice delivery system fails the citizens have no option but to take law onto their own hands. And you know, this is going to happen more. Let me warn you, the way the women's safety authorities and administration has been taking it lightly, we have been shouting hoarse on the top of our voice that you need to attend women's safety issues, you know, on a zero tolerance basis. That doesn't seem to be happening. You know, today if you go on any of the e-marketing sites, there are products available for women's personal safety, you know, starting from a pepper spray to, you know, small knives that you can conceal as hairbrushes, etc. The point is, we need our daughters to carry that till the time the authorities actually wake up and smell the coffee. We can't allow our daughters to become victims to this you know, this depraved mentality. And please understand how, please let's appreciate how desperate this young girl would have felt. This also reflects on how our society is dealing with it. Her mother, who was a devotee of this Godman, so this young girl, and she was in the know. The girl's mother was in the know. She knew how things were happening. The girl had nowhere to go. How could she have the courage to go walk up to the police without any support at home? What is the guarantee that the police would have acted? She was probably carrying this for one time that man, and if this is something that has been happening for the last 8 years. What else she could have done? Please understand her plight, and the right of private defense extends to even causing death. Here she has not even caused death. She has baptized this man, which is a very appropriate thing. This also sends a very strong signal. And you know, men and authorities, perverted men and authorities, beware. If you know, if you don't set your house in order, if you don't set law and order in order, women will take it onto their hands. And the right of private defense under IPC, you know, it extends to that level. I know it is, as a lawyer, what I'm saying is I'm walking on a razor's edge. But then that's how it is going to be. I'm not very happy about this situation. I would have liked authorities. She would have taken so much of courage. I don't know what must have been going through her mind. Absolutely. It must have taken her so much of courage and so much of frustration to actually pick up that blade knife and resort to what she did. But she really had no other option.
She didn't have any
Otherwise, she could have been a victim, continuing, going on and on and on.
Right.
But she had to put an end to it. And she did.
Go ahead.
And I'm happy that the Chief Minister is taking the sensitive view to it. You know, law and order is one issue, but please understand what this girl must be going through. And one more thing, you know, there must not be any complaint from this Godman. This so-called Godman.
I don't think the police has registered any complaint against him. In fact, he's been accused under POCSO. Go ahead, sir.
No, I just wanted to only supplement to what she had been saying, that you have to see the entire thing in its totality, that 8-year-long trauma, she had been experiencing, and her family not, supportive.
Yes.
No, where does she go to then? In any case, I have seen during my service that not more than 10% rape cases get reported. Not more than 10%. I'm making a very profound, well-considered statement.
The rest of these women are suffering in silence.
Most of the rapes are committed by your own close ones, your own dear, near ones, and then, they are kept under the carpet. No, so that trauma of the young girl, so those things are bound to happen. And so when...
I'm actually going to ask you a very clear question. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. As a woman who lives in a big city, or a woman who lives in the country of India, Dr. Pasricha, do you recommend? Aishwarya said that you can go on to Amazon or Flipkart and actually buy a hairbrush with a concealed blade. Do you recommend we carry blades in our handbags?
No, I do not recommend that kind of thing. Well, that is also, a bit too much. You have to see in totality. You have to really sensitize the community. You have to sensitize the parents,
if I'm being
the families,
attacked
everybody.
And I don't have a blade handy, what will I do?
Exactly.
So
if I'm being attacked today when I leave my office.
I mean, if the law permits, for example, ordinary blade, a razor, what we call, if it's permitted, you carry it. I have no objection. Whatever is permitted under the law, that the size of the blade, the razor, or whatever, you can take it. You can use it, no issue at all. I mean, even though there are some, those shocking guns which are available, well, you can do that.
You can actually go. Let me bring in the voices that have not come in yet. Let me bring in Kumar Jahgirdar, who's had his hand up for a while. Kumar Jahgirdar, go ahead.
Yes. I condemn the Chief Minister of Kerala's statement, welcoming that she's a very courageous person and she's a Braveheart. See, what is he meant for? He has to protect, all the human beings there, in the citizens of Kerala. And he says, you are free to take a lot of your end. And also, this case, the instant case which we are discussing, I'm not able to understand. She is educated already. She is a law graduate, or maybe at the end of her course. And she says she's been constantly raped for 7 years. I find it very difficult to, believe this story. And also, if her mother is not cooperating, she could have also filed a FIR.
Okay.
So-called
with due apologies, Kumar Jahgirdar, you said you don't understand. Allow me, with due apologies to my viewers who might be having their dinner right now. Let me just explain to Kumar Jahgirdar what happened.
He has no idea.
There was a Godman, Kumar Jahgirdar, who was in this girl's house, who was holding her at knife point. Holding her at knife point and demanding that she perform oral sex on him. She grabbed the knife from his hand and used it to cut off his genitals. That's what
Absolutely
happened.
Fair.
That is the story, Kumar Jahgirdar. Now tell me, what part of this story do you not understand?
Please see the police commissioner statement. Please see what the police commissioner of Kerala has told is more important than the other reports. He has told there was no provocation on the day. It was a conspiracy which they have done. What is this thing? She could have. She's an educated woman. She Trivandrum is not a small place. She could have gone to the police station, filed a FIR. She could have rang up the police. There is always helpline for this sort of cases. How can she say that she's such a victim? She doesn't even know what to do, and she has to take lot of own hand. And the CM of other people is welcoming this suggestion.
But Kumar Jahgirdar, we have senior lawyers who have welcomed the suggestion. We have a senior police officer who says there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't understand what your issue is. Yogita Bhayana?
I condemn the so-called...
You condemn the act. Yogita Bhayana.
Yes. My issue is nobody can welcome such taking the law to own hand. Nobody can welcome. If they welcome, we are not in a civil society.
You can't welcome because you are not a woman.
We condemn this. And also,
you are not welcoming it.
No. See what happened to Rohtak. Don't forget Rohtak sisters. What happened? Everybody told Rohtak sisters.
None of us have forgotten Rohtak, Kumar Jahgirdar, I promise you.
They need award for the bravery. At the end, what happened? At the end, they were, the people were acquitted. So, and there was no punishment for this woman who put fake molestation cases.
Sir, Rohtak happened because this kind of a courage was not there in that girl.
It's conspiracy. So only.
Kumar Jahgirdar.
Oh my God, look at the audacity.
Haryana cases, the two sisters case I'm talking.
In fact, Kumar Jahgirdar, let me take this a step further and tell you that I recommend that all girls carry knives in their handbags so that they can actually defend themselves. Kumar Jahgirdar, all girls should carry knives in their handbags so they can defend themselves. What is your response to that?
Citizens of this country should carry knives in their hands and arms in their hands to control the crime.
Who else is going to do it?
Faye, if I could, please Faye, if I could intervene.
Deepika, go ahead. Deepika Bharadwaj,
I'm sorry to hear
Faye,
his views.
if I could intervene.
It is so ashamed.
So I was
shameful comments.
So Faye, I was
Yeah, Deepika Bharadwaj, go ahead.
So these Faye, Faye, I was just looking at a report by Times Now regarding a rape case, alleged rape case of a 13-year-old girl from Bikaner, in which the language used was these 8 teachers who were monsters repeatedly raped this girl for 1.5 years, and they kept on giving her sedatives to abort the pregnancy. And this was all over the media. This was discussed strongly for 2 or 3 days, and again all these discussions happened, and eventually it was found out that it was a lie concocted by the girl's father, and because of a dispute between the father and the teachers earlier.
Now, Faye, what is heading to? Wait a minute. Let me point out to you, Deepika Bharadwaj, that the father came back. The father came back after the state government came under a lot of pressure and said, I was under the influence when I filed this complaint. Does that sound like someone who was concocting, or does that sound like someone who came under a lot of pressure?
I'm sorry?
The father in this particular case, and I'm fully aware of the case you're talking about, came back after 2 weeks after he was under tremendous... The state government came under a lot of flack because of that case. The father then came back and said, I don't want to do this anymore. Please leave my family alone. I will give you a statement saying that I was under the influence. Does that sound to you like someone who concocted a story about his 13-year-old daughter, or someone who was under tremendous political pressure?
Well, that's just, Faye, that's not just one case. Faye, that's not just one case. And the point I'm not talking about the truth or the falsity of the complaint. What I'm saying is, what if any of those... Can you please listen to me? What if any of these 8 teachers were lynched, like what happened in Dimapur? What if any of these teachers were killed?
I wish you would have worked with at least one rape survivors. You would have known the agony.
Let's talk about law from both the sides.
You would have said what we go through. Have you worked with any rape survivors?
You know, I just want to ask this question. I just want to ask this question.
Rape victim or a survivor?
Should women in India carry blades in their handbags to defend themselves from rapists? That's my question tonight. Sujay Kantawala hasn't spoken yet. Sujay Kantawala, should we carry blades in our handbags? Will the law permit us to do so?
So I think we should...
Let me tell you that this is an extremely sensitive issue. There are a lot of women who are not in a position to carry these kind of blades and these kind of instruments. According to me, carrying knives, blades or any such dangerous weapons would unleash a serious law and order situation. Let me look at it from this angle. This particular case that we are discussing from Kerala, the girl went through extreme trauma. It was an outburst, and that resulted in this gruesome act. Why don't we discuss this issue where we need to sensitize and we need to make the law and police stations amenable and approachable by victims? Because I'll tell you why. Right of self-defense, yes, accepted. She carried out her right of self-defense, which is a statutory right. Now, whether that was rightly exercised or not is a matter of, we don't need to go into that. But let's not just go into the populist statements by the Chief Minister, who was completely insensitive. He was laughing and grinning when he was making the statement, or Mr. Tharoor. Mr. Tharoor actually has no legs to stand as on today. He himself is likely to be accused in some other case.
Right.
So I don't want to say anything on that. But this is a very sensitive issue, and we are seeing that these kind of psychos in the garb of religious, we see nuns being exploited, we see ladies being exploited in Badrinath, Kedarnath, all those areas, and now we are seeing Kerala. Even in certain Islamic communities also, they carry out surgery on their women's private parts. So therefore it's a issue concerning women, and we need to be very, very sensitive. First of all, what we need is that we need to have more police officers who are women, separate cells in police stations and helplines where these kind of girls can definitely go and approach them. Because let me tell you, if you kind of look at it from a morality point of view, that's one way of looking at it. If you look at it from a legalistic point of view, then what has happened is a crime. Then you can look at it from the angle of self-defense. So rather taking this as a test case, you have started a very important debate on this issue, Faye, and I would suggest that our governments and our legislatures, they seriously consider sensitizing the police force, having separate cells headed by women police officers. And therefore, I feel that one should not straight jump to a conclusion that women should be allowed to carry weapons, knives and blades, because that will lead to a lot of misuse and that can lead to a serious law and order situation.
Right.
This is a very important topic which
Right, Sujay made some very good points. First of all, I want to point out, Sujay, all of these suggestions have already been made.
Helplines, we already have.
None of it actually saves women from rape right now. Also, when you say women being allowed to carry blades, I think according to the law, we are already allowed to carry blades. It says, according to the Indian Arms Act, 1959, Sujay, correct me if I'm wrong, pepper spray is legal. Any knife or weapon with a blade larger than 5 inches, including the handle, is considered perhaps illegal. So basically, if I have a small knife that is less than 5 inches, I can carry it. So it's not even a question of not allowing us. It's a question of us understanding the law well enough to know whether or not we should keep these things in our handbags. Venkat Raman is on the phone line from Bangalore. Venkat Raman, go ahead very quickly.
Good evening. There are 3 points I would like to talk about.
Yes.
First is what the girl has done is correct.
Okay.
Number 2, what the Chief Minister has said should not be politicized.
Okay.
Because he has behaved like a brother, father, uncle, everything.
Okay.
Number 3, you know the incident of Nirbhaya case which rocked the entire country.
Yes.
What has happened to it? The guy who was less than 17, he was let out for such a miserable act. And
Yes.
number 2, rather not miserable, heinous act.
Right.
And number 2, the others are still fighting legal. I think it's not been.
No, but what you're saying, and I agree with you on points 1 and 2. My problem is with actually disregarding the wisdom of the courts here and saying that we should actually seek justice on our own when we do have a legal system, we do have a judicial system that is meant to give us justice. Vipin Sharma on the phone line from Meerut. Vipin, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I would like to add that already, first of all, whatever has been done might be right in its own sense, because the situation might have warranted or had demanded. But are we going to convert our country into a system wherein each and everybody would be taking the laws into their own hands? What if the situation would have been other way around? Suppose a boy would have been tried to rape by a lady, so would everybody would have got this same perception of the boy chopping off the genitals of that lady? Now, why are we so gender biased?
All right, good. That's a good question. That's a good question. I take all questions. I'm going to take this question to Aishwarya Bhati. Are we being gender biased, Aishwarya, or are just women in this country just fed up?
Okay, Faye, let's clear some of the air about this. Okay. 1, rape cannot be committed on a man. Rape is an offense which is a gender-specific offense. It can only be committed by a man against a woman. That being point number 1. Please understand, we are mixing up 2 or 3 issues. Right to private defense is a very well established, very well recognized right under the Indian Penal Code. Under Chapter 4, it is protected by as many as 10 sections which define it. There are Supreme Court judgments, and the law itself says under which circumstances it extends to causing death. Now, there has to be imminent danger. There has to be real apprehension of danger. Please understand, Revenge is something else. Some of your panelists are actually talking about revenge. Please don't understand this as revenge. You can't, right to private defense can never extend to taking revenge on the accused persons. This is just to ward off that attack that is happening on you. This is to ward off. This is not even about seeking justice, Faye. And you know, I welcome all the steps, sensitize the police, have more women police, have better authorities. But till then, will you allow our young girls and daughters to be exposed to sexual offenses and rapes? You yourself pointed out, you know, there are things that can happen within the legal regime. There are these things that you can carry, and they are safe. When you're telling the girls to go and learn self-defense mechanisms and self-defense training, that also is in the same category and the same criteria. So please understand the difference between self-defense, revenge, and seeking justice.
I think Faye, you are not.
Don't try to.
I think Faye, you are not ready to listen to actually different viewpoints.
It's a very clear Okay, all right. Let me, Deepika Bharadwaj, I'm giving you the floor, but I just want to remind you, Deepika Bharadwaj.
There should be a difference.
We all need public transport.
Okay, one second. Let me bring in the other voices. All right, Deepika Bharadwaj, let me point out to you, like Aishwarya Bhati very clearly said.
Just one example I want to give.
Right.
Just permit me to give this example, Faye.
Okay, Aishwarya. Go ahead. And then
I just want to give this example. You know, public transport is supposed to be there everywhere. But if public transport is not adequate, not enough, and not there, do we stop going to office? We wait till the government gets sensitized and there are enough public transport available. Do we stop going about doing anything else? Then why should women sit at home and not be, completely prepared and secure to take care of their self-defense themselves?
All right, let me bring in Deepika.
Women should sit at home. In this particular case itself, as the police commissioner said, that it was premeditated. She could have made a call and called up the cops as well. And if cops do not, address the situation, it's a problem with the police system, Faye.
So if the cops don't address the police, if the cops don't address the problem,
what essentially is coming out? Okay, Faye. First of all, on the Bikaner case, the father did not come out after 2 weeks. He came out after 2 days. State Women Commission was also there.
Why are you behind Bikaner case when you're talking about a genuine case, madam?
Came out to the media saying that, no, because you don't want to listen, madam, you don't want to listen. Now, what if any of these 8 teachers would have killed?
Yes, we don't want to listen because there are 99 genuine cases. You are only talking about one fake case. There are 99%.
Okay, no. Hang on, ladies, let's calm down. One second. Everybody just give me a second silence. Deepika, Kumar, just 1 second. We are not talking about fake cases. 1 second, Yogita, 1 second.
This girl has to justify what she has done.
Just kill everybody's audio. Kill everybody's audio. Nobody wants to listen. Everybody who's talking, down. 1 second. Let me make this very, very clear to the viewers and the panelists. We are not talking about lynching people. Lynching happens for cows. We are not talking about lynching people. We are talking about self-defense. If someone is coming at me with the intention to rape and hurt, can I defend myself at that point in order to be able to run away to safety? That is the question. We're not talking about lynching people. We're not talking about making up cases. Very clearly, we're talking about using a knife to get away from that situation, to run to safety. The law allows it very, very clearly. For anybody who believes that it shouldn't happen, you need to take this up in a PIL with the Supreme Court, because this is part of the law. My question is simply this. I want our viewers to understand tonight. 1 second, Deepika. I'm not talking... Deepika, please. I want our viewers to understand tonight the purview of the law. What does the law allow? What does the law not allow? So that everybody who is supposed to, let's be honest, defend themselves, because we know the police don't show up when you make those calls. We know that when you press the panic button, nothing happens. We know that when you scream on the street in Bangalore, nobody comes to help you. We know that in Delhi after 8 o'clock at night, if you're out, people are going to say you're asking for it. So in that case, if you're carrying a knife, what can you do with that knife is my question. The simple question. Now, Deepika, since we're not talking about fake cases, we're not talking about, trapping men, we're talking about defending ourselves. Now make your point, please.
Let me ask you, where exactly does this idea of defense begins? Now, is it okay if a person touches you, can the woman in self-defense hurt that person, injure that person? If a person passes lewd comments,
very good question. The law is very clear about it.
I think
the law,
that's
it says very clearly bodily harm. It says very clearly, in the law it says very clearly, you have the right to defend yourself if your own body or the body of another person is in imminent danger. Swapnil Kothari, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Now, Faye, I have got 1 or 2 points to make. To the panelists who are suggesting, Deepika, please. I think you've made your points. Can I finish my point, please? You've made your point. We've heard you. Can I finish my point? I'm not necessarily attacking the point that you have made. I'm only talking generic, or to even the point that Kumar Jahgirdar has made. I'm only talking generic stuff here. So please do not take it as a personal affront.
Right. So go ahead.
So my point is very simple, that to all the panelists who are saying that, we have to first see as to whether this was a genuine case or not. So, taking your interpretation, I would have to say that basically she bobitized the man because this man was not gratifying her sexually appropriately. Am I correct? If that's the interpretation should I draw? Or she was probably suffering from some sort of a tremendous delirium, or she was suffering from some insanity to do this. Is that what this assumption should I draw? There can be only two assumptions. Either she did it in self-defense, or either she did it out of some sort of a revenge because the man was not able to satisfy her. In which case she is a prostitute. Or she is
what are we saying? Come back. Wait, don't get derailed. I just want to understand this.
Right.
Self-defense.
Right.
Self-defense.
Okay.
Now, she had a very good question. Deepika's question I acknowledge. She says, if someone is eve-teasing you, someone is groping you, is that self-defense? Please explain to us, in the law, under the law of our country, what is self-defense? In under what circumstances is it self-defense?
When you are in imminent danger,
apprehend, if I may, when you apprehend imminent danger to your body, or there is a harm to even somebody else's body or to your property, then sections 96 to 206 of the IPC clearly specify. These are this is a complete clutch of sections which tells you or gives you the right to self-defense. So under these sections, property and body, and not only to your own body, but to the body of somebody else also. So if I'm on the street, if I see somebody else trying to murder someone, then I have all the rights to even go and attack that person and maybe even kill that person.
Dr. Pasricha.
Second point, a very, very important point. The people are saying that only when I apprehend a rape, am I allowed to go ahead and kill that person or emasculate that person? The answer is no. I will stretch it still further. I can premeditate it. I can wait for 2 days and say that no, after 2 days, maybe this gentleman is going to come again and do what he's been doing since 8 years. So today I have a chance, let me sedate him and let me bobitize him. This is exactly what happened in the United States. That person, Lorena Bobbitt.
Right. I just want to, Dr. Pasricha, tell me this. Now, when we say imminent harm to my body, is that, now again the argument can be made in this particular case that he was holding her at knife point. The knife was in his hand. That's a threat that he could use it. What is imminent danger? Groping? Is it is it something that happens in a public, in a bus or a train? What is imminent danger? So for the women who are watching right now, they know when they are allowed to use violence to defend themselves.
You see, you cannot measure it on a physical pan. It all depends upon circumstances. Like somebody is trying to grope me. I mean, grope a lady.
Yes.
No, then it is not sufficient. That kind of, you can't exercise the right of defense to the extent of mutilating.
Yes.
But where rape is almost going to happen,
yes, then
you have the right to exercise.
Right.
It all depends. No, like even I'll give you a simple, very crude example. When the police goes, for apprehending some big mafia criminals and all that, big ones, they go well prepared. They're armed. But they are supposed to exercise only when
someone is attacking them.
So then it becomes an encounter. So that is investigated. That also gets right of defense.
Right.
So these are the things you can't really apply that stick. That investigation will reveal. No, again, it's a matter of interpretation. Whether it was 19.2 or 19.6 is very difficult to say.
It's very difficult.
I think we should discuss in its totality and then take a view. The cumulative agony, anger. 8 years long trauma, nobody supporting in the family, and he's again trying to do it, and that too with a knife. Now what does she do? She has to do it. It's absolutely within
She has to defend herself.
with the right of self-defense.
Absolutely. Ravi Nair is on the phone line from Mumbai. Ravi Nair, go ahead.
Has the Swamiji given any statement? No. Swamiji has not given any statement.
Well,
Please give me a chance.
Okay, go ahead, Kumar.
So, Faye, could I ask a statement?
See, in this case,
one at a time, please. Kumar, go ahead.
The victim is the man. We feel that the victim is the man.
But with the reality that is happening.
There is attempt to murder him. There is attempt to murder him, and we glorify the perpetrator. No. See, please. There is attempt to murder a person. He happens to be a man, and we glorify the woman. This is not man versus woman. There are certain rules and procedures we have to follow. The police has to do their work. Anybody can misuse the law. You take the Delhi Commission of Women. They themselves have made a survey. In that, they said 53.2% of all the post-Nirbhaya rape cases are fake. So this is not told by me. This is told by the Delhi Commission of Women.
Kumar, you're missing the point.
All women are angels
really.
and all men are rapists. Don't
Kumar, you are missing the point. Sujay Kantawala, please respond to him.
There is good versus bad.
We are discussing the right of self-defense, the concept of self-defense. Why are we derailing this topic again and again? Why are we getting so emotionally charged about other issues? The issue in focus over here is
what about the
right of
self-defense of the man now? The
when does the right of self-defense
the man may be a victim here.
Clear and present danger. When that feeling arises because of certain things that are happening, then at the spur of the moment, the girl has to take an action, the person has to take an action to save his own body. That is the right of self-defense.
Kumar Jahgirdar, let me point out to you, Kumar Jahgirdar, one second. Let me point out to you, if you have a moment to listen, Kumar Jahgirdar, that the law is very clear on self-defense. It's gender neutral. Both men and women have the right to defend themselves if they are coming into harm.
That's right.
The law is very clear about it. Second point, Kumar, one second. Calm down. Nobody's attacking you. Calm down. The second point is, as far as, and you keep bringing it up, which is completely irrelevant to the conversation tonight, this sort of fake cases, we have a glorious judiciary to deal with fake cases. It is what the judiciary does. It separates fake cases from real cases. This is what happens in the courts of law. It needn't happen on an evening debate. There are other debates in this country that pretend to be courts of law. This is not one of them. We are not discussing fake cases and real cases. We are discussing a woman's ability and a woman's right to defend herself from attacks.
The dignity of the person who is acquitted later. Now, who will give him the honor back?
I want to go over to my callers. I'm going to go over to Ravi Nair. Ravi Nair is calling in from Mumbai. Ravi Nair, thank you for holding. Go ahead.
Let me tell you a few points. One is that the CM is absolutely right in defending his position by saying that she is right. What we need to understand and see here is we are discussing about exercise to defend, a person to defend, a woman to defend. She has been defending herself for the last 8 years, and this person did not stop, so she had to take this decision. And we never know, because her parents have been probably stopping her from talking to the police or whatever and asking her to maintain calm because he's a godly man and a religious man. And he has got his again because he is not a common man. He is a religious person. He was in his robes, he was in his dress, he was in his uniform. He took full advantage of it. This is an absolute answer to Nirbhaya case. This is the rightful answer and a justice to all Nirbhaya cases, all those things which happened in the last 3 years after the Nirbhaya case took place. This is the way it has to go.
Ajay is on the phone line from Bangalore. Ajay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the answer to your question, Faye, wishfully would be very nice if it were dichotomous. If you are asking, should the woman defend themselves in eventualities like this, the answer dichotomously is yes. But you and I know that there are so many shades of grey so far as the law and order is concerned. Thereby, it now depends on what is the aftermath of this particular incident. How law and order is going to handle this and set the right precedent. If the law and order fails, if the enforcement fails, you will have bobbytization far too many to come by. That's my view.
to bring in Yogita Bhayana. Yogita deals with survivors of rape on a daily basis. Yogita, do you think the desperation has reached a point now where women will do anything, they're fed up, they'll do anything to keep themselves safe?
Faye, unfortunately, yes, the situation has come. Though I know it is not legal, but yes, this girl would have faced so many, traumatic situations, and this is how she reached to this conclusion. But we should also appreciate that she did not kill him. She drew the line. She knew where to stop. So she actually went ahead and did only this much, I would rather call it, in self-defense. I think it is justified. Also, in self-defense, when we are teaching karate, if you do a wrong move, you can actually kill a person. When government is justifying that we should learn self-defense, learning karates and other arts, actually very much it can kill a person as well. So that law is keeping those things in mind. That's why they are coming forward and teaching self-defense in schools and colleges and all. So I think law is also permitting these kind of acts. I think this is a desperate situation. Till the time we don't have strict law and action situation, law and order situation, I think this should be the immediate plan of action for women, and this is totally justified. I would stand by this, at least self-defense act of this girl. And she did not kill. I would also appreciate that she stopped it there. And coming back to the CM remark, making her like a face of courageous girl, we always, on the debates also, we all the time say, come out of your political seats and get up, think out of the box, don't think as a politician. I think he made a statement on a humanitarian ground. I think nothing political about it. I think he made a statement, general statement.
Yogita, I entirely agree with you on that part, the CM part. And the first part where you said, that she may not have done something which is legal. I just want to clear the air on this issue that even if we were to have a fantastic police force and a fantastic administration all across the country, that does not dilute in any way sections 96 to 106 of the IPC. The situation is there. It warrants a self-defense. You've done it. Now, whether you have bobbitized or whether you've killed, both the things are allowed to you in those sections under section 100. So you could have, the fact that you chose lesser than the form, than the more heinous one of killing is your choice as at that point in time, whether you had enough time to even cogitate and think that usko marna chahiye ya ye karna chahiye, that's a different issue. So, this is something, let us not take away the right of self-defense and let us not blur it because the administration is not, effective. The administration, whether it's effective or ineffective, the right to self-defense exists. Now, as far as the Faye pointed out that, very rightly pointed out whether we should carry pepper spray or knife, of particular inches. Now, that's allowed into the Indian Arms Act. Now, even otherwise, let's put it that way, that I can carry an apple along with a bigger knife and I can carry it in my purse and go ahead, and the police can say, "Kyun knife leke ja rahe ho? Bhai, mujhe apple khana hai kabhi future mein." I can say that and I can still get away with it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to kill someone because I'm anticipating, although that may be there in my head. But these are very grey areas. Now, as far as that situation which occurred during that time, let the courts decide at that point in time whether, she was right in taking this decision of, somebody groped her, whether she should have just hit him or not. That is for the courts to decide. But your right to self-defense is sacrosanct. It exists and it should not be blurred by anything whatsoever.
Dr. Saab, what advice would you give the women who are watching right now, who are thinking, how should they defend themselves?
I'll just, mention like what Mr. Kothari has said is, I'll go with him. Now, a simple example, somebody's teasing a girl. There could be a situation where a girl may abuse the person, he may slap, or she may use a stick. No, those are all, you can't really say, no, you should not have used the stick. But it's not expected that she will, use the blade on this, in this case.
Yes.
No, for example, in this particular case that we are discussing, though the lady has not, she has not killed the person. She has only done to the extent, so that anger, that thing, and, and in what position were they, that also has to be seen at that time. So, all that is okay. But I think the time has come to discuss whether we should, as many countries have done, chemical castration of accused, but only after conviction and when the appeal period is over, and only in some cases like gang rape, rape with violence, rape of a minor, or repeated, offender.
Yes.
Not, like you are living in,
Yes, yes. So the rarest of rare. What the courts have been calling the rarest of rare cases of violence against women.
And then, we should have a website to put, to give shame to such, accused people.
Absolutely.
Let there be of the clinics. After the
We've been asking, in fact, that the government consider a public database of sex offenders who have been convicted by courts in offences against children. So at least those people who are hiring caretakers in play schools, who are hiring people to be around their children, can check the database and make sure that these people are not convicted felons or regular felons. Sujay, I see your hand come up. I'm going to come back to you. Gauri is on the phone line from Delhi. Gauri, very quickly. Go ahead.
You see, I'm really perturbed by all these discussions because rape is the worst kind of assault that can be inflicted upon a woman. And in this case, it was not a premeditated murder. Definitely not. And it so happens that the Swamiji walked in with a knife and she just on an impulse used it. And, even when you're advocating that women should carry pepper sprays and chili powder or whatever it is, at that point of time, the woman is totally, totally defenseless, emotionally, mentally, physically, in every way. That, even now I'm getting goosebumps even while I'm talking to you. I mean, I'm really feeling very upset for this girl who's, put up with this nonsense for 8 years with the full connivance of her entire family. Who could she talk to? She cannot talk to her friends as well. Some of them are suggesting, why didn't she talk to her friends? How can you talk about such a horrible thing even to your friends?
Absolutely.
And in a country like ours, where you're socially ostracized.
Yes.
After all, at the end of the day, you are a woman. And this is not the way to dress and this is not the way to speak.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Dr. Neelam Kante is on the phone line from Mumbai. Dr. Neelam Kante, go ahead. Very quickly, ma'am.
Yeah. Hello. I congratulate this brave girl, even though her act was not within the legal ambit. But she was helpless as the parents were not cooperating with her. And in that case, she was left with no choice. And now I want to advise the girls not to use the knife at once, because the rapists make overpower and they make all harm to those girls,
Right.
So they should disable him with the pepper spray and then only pull out the knife.
So you're saying use pepper spray first and then use the knife. All right. Sujay Kantawala's hand went up. Sujay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, I welcome the fact that you should have a website for these sexual offenders and proclaimed psychos and convicted felons. I think is extremely important because what happens is that you have juveniles who have been let off and then they are free to roam around in the society. That juvenile who has committed a crime, like for example in the Nirmaya case, he could be working in your neighborhood and you may not know that this was the guy who was who did the most heinous act but because of a technicality he was let off. So I welcome this fact that there should be a website where you should have the pictures and what deeds these people have been accused of, so that we know exactly and all of us are aware that who is this guy working in the next house or maybe in your own house. So therefore I welcome this website.
And they are put to shame.
Put them to shame. Aishwarya Bhati, closing statements. Aishwarya Bhati.
Coming to the point. Yeah, I want to make a point.
The women who we are talking about.
That how much force can be used? You asked this question, how much force can be used? Still remains unanswered. So just to explain in layman's language, I want to tell you that right to private defense, like Swapnil said, is perfectly protected under the Indian Penal Code from sections 96 to 106. This is not about revenge. It is not about seeking justice. It is only to ward off the assault that is happening on you. Please understand, the Supreme Court has also held that, and the section also says that the right to private defense extends only so long as the attack or the apprehension of the attack continues. No force more than necessary should be used. So if, like Deepika was saying, if somebody is eve teasing or anything, that does not mean that you pick up a knife and go after the person. If somebody is eve teasing or passing a lewd comment, use only as much force as is necessary to ward that off. But if somebody is, and section 100 is very clear, if there is a rape kind of a apprehension, then it even extends to death. But please understand,
I would like to say, even the castration should become legal now.
It's high time. Revenge is something else. Just one more thing. if somebody causes, uses more force than is necessary while exercising their right to private defense, then it amounts to culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. So the legal regime is very clear, and right to private defense is very securely there. So women, go ahead, protect yourself, ward off against all of these assaults that are happening. But please understand, it is not a revenge. It is not seeking justice. For that, there are courts of law.
Right. All right, I've run out of time. But I want to make this very clear.
Castration should become legal in our country.
I want to make this very clear.
Become a legal thing.
What kind of statement that castration should become legal? Faye, I think you should censor this woman. What is she talking on this debate?
Okay, hang on.
Making such kind of statements.
Okay, hang on. I just want to put what we've learned.
Why not?
Okay, that's a completely different debate. That's not what we're talking about tonight. Yogita, Sujay, 1 second. Let me just put into a nutshell what we've learned today, and this is so important to all of the women who are watching and all the men who are watching on behalf of the women in your family. It is perfectly legal to carry pepper spray. It is perfectly legal to carry in your handbag a blade that is less than 5 inches. It is perfectly legal to use either or both of these things to defend yourself when you are coming into bodily harm or someone who is with you is coming into bodily harm. But remember, you need to use only enough force to run away, to be able to escape from that situation. So, if you are in a situation where you find yourself being physically threatened and attacked, by all means defend yourself. Enough to run away. The courts, the law, the IPC, the police allow you to do so. The police cannot be everywhere. They cannot be in every lift, in every library, in every hostel room, in every staircase, in the living room of this particular girl's house where this happened. The police cannot be everywhere. If you need to defend yourself, you must do so. You must get away from that situation. And given the rates of crime against women that are going up with every year, given how little each of the state governments in our country care about our safety, ladies, it's up to us to protect ourselves. And then let the law take its course. Then we will explain it to the police. We will explain it to the courts of law why we took the actions that we took. But while you're in that situation, by all means carry a blade. By all means carry pepper spray. By all means defend yourself and defend those around you, because as women, we need to stick together. And unless we do and defend each other, we will never win this race. Thanks for watching.